has his supporters spanning the tens of millions. There are others on the other side having tens of millions of the supporters on their side. What has that led to? A divide. It is not a divide that is created. It is a divide that's illuminated because it's highlighting and showing that it's been in existence all along.
Clark gets 15,591 fans in attendance, 105% increase compared to the average game is 76.45. And to Angel Reese, it's only 10,000 people. Can you pull up what Caitlin Clark just got? What is the Nike contract with Caitlin Clark?
Everything you guys saw right there just reaffirms everything I said in the video that I posted earlier today. Seems to me that the only thing appealing in this league at this moment in time is Caitlin Clark. But also to go on top of this, there's also a lot of jealousy. And yes, I said there's a lot of jealousy in this. And also to go on top of that, it makes you wonder if outside of Caitlin Clark, this league is appealing at all. Well, don't worry. By the time this video is over with, you guys will see if this league is appealing at all and if it's not just going to become the Caitlin Clark League going forward. And also, we got to discuss all the jealousy, and I mean all the jealousy that's around this situation. So let's go ahead and dive in. If you guys didn't catch it, it'll definitely be in the end cards. But this video here that I posted about why it is that Caitlin Clark will not be able to save the WNBA. It will be in the description box in the end cards of this video here. This video right here is more about the actual jealousy factor. And I wanted to kind of use this as a bit of a follow-up because I wanted to go back to Stephen A. Smith's monologue or his 3 to 4 minute, I don't know what the hell you call it, because it was kind of incoherent in a lot of ways, especially after he had actually been on a bit of a streak of good takes over this topic of the WNBA and Caitlin Clark. But for whatever reason, he decided to just kind of like revert back to the old talking points, to the old script they normally give him, because that's, of course, what Stephen A. Smith does. He just simply reads from the script. Sorry, it's just the way that it is. Unless, of course, it's on his own podcast, but still at the same time, though, it still, for the most part, is somebody else writing his lines. But what I did not talk about in that previous video was the jealousy factor. And, of course, you guys are seeing some stuff here in the B-roll footage. And, of course, in the previous video, I hinted at the fact that they were going to try to make the girl go political. And, of course, to go on top of making the girl go political, she was probably going to continue to get some more abuse in the process. And the thing is this right here. There's one more thing that I did not get to in that video that I wanted to say for this one here, and that is how long will the WNBA be able to sustain itself as far as the new viewership that they're bringing in? Now, you're not going to be able to pull this off, however, if you continue to call the new person who's in the league, the fans, the people who are showing up, the people that, quite frankly, were not watching the product before, but now they've suddenly decided to watch the product. It's you're not going to keep them around if you just go ahead and go to the race card. But the thing that people need to understand is this right here. Let's take a look at exactly how martyrs are created. Okay, now here's the thing. You guys obviously saw some stuff here in the B-roll footage, and of course you guys can obviously see what's going on. And of course you've also got someone like Angel Reese now saying stuff like this.
For inside, I mean, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being...
Talk about the Victimhood Olympics later on in the video, but bear with me. Which, of course, was a clip that did, in fact, go viral, roughly 16 seconds, saying that some people have a special whistle. You guys can debate that in the comment section. You guys can talk about all you want. I don't watch the WNBA, but I'm here just to simply tell you how it normally goes when it comes to sports. And, of course, that article detailing the $50 million loss that the WNBA was looking at, and here they are passing up opportunities for exposure. Yeah, this league is not exactly what we call competent. It seems to me like what may happen. And we'll talk about this when we get to the Patrick Bet David podcast segments, because they discussed this at length as well. And, of course, they made some very good points. Or they actually, I would say they made some points about the viewership, but they kind of missed some points in the little segment that I'm going to kind of fill in for you, because there's always a flip side that needs to be discussed. And, of course, that is exactly how sustainable is this. Now, Caitlin Clark, as you guys obviously saw from the very beginning, she's just received a contract from Nike. A lot of money. Is anybody else in the league going to receive a contract? Well, the truth be told is probably not. The reason why they're probably not going to receive any money from Nike is because Caitlin Clark is kind of the only star they've got at this moment in time. And, of course, it's beginning to breed a little bit of jealousy. And, of course, some people are going to say, I don't think anybody's jealous of the contract. Not yet. Not yet. But, obviously, you guys saw what you saw in the B-roll footage. The Kennedy Carter hit, the mocking, all that type of stuff there. Of course, it's got people talking. But what was I about to say? We were talking about how martyrs are created. So Stephen A. Smith, of course, he goes out and he does his little spiel. And, of course, he basically says what you're about to say here.
issue here that can't be escaped, and that is this. She is a white young lady, and she's been a magnet in a way that has benefited the league in ways that others have not, even though their efforts have been worthy and deserving of being as celebrated, if not even more celebrated. And it's a reminder that no matter how far we believe that we have advanced as a society, there's still such a long way to go, because in the end, if you're white, you're bright, you're right, and as a result, the shine comes your way in the eyes of a lot of people in America. Let's transition. Very uncomfortable to touch on, but just factually correct. You have somebody that's a presidential candidate. What is his claim to fame? Make America great again. What have people interpreted that to mean? Make America white. He has his supporters spanning the tens of millions. There are others on the other side having tens of millions of the supporters on their side. What has that led to? A divide. It is not a divide that is created. It is a divide that's illuminated because it's highlighting and showing that it's been in existence all along.
And somehow or another, you find a way to tie this to Trump. I have no idea how in the world you found a way to do this. I understand that the team she plays for is in Indiana. I understand that it's pretty much a red state, but still at the same time, though, it's not a good idea to just go ahead and label all the new fans that quite frankly were not watching the product before. It's really not a good idea to label them as racist, especially given the fact that this league here has been buoyed up by the NBA. As a matter of fact, the NBA covers about 50% of everything involved in the WNBA. And of course, the WNBA only has about 10% of its own agency. You will see that in the article. I did talk about this in the previous video, but I did not go through the full adulterated numbers. But the article is there. Several links where they'll be in the description box. The thing that you've got to understand about this situation here is that obviously he does not understand how fandom actually works, especially new fandom. Let me go ahead and just kind of run through this so that way you guys can see where we're going with this. The new girl shows up. The new girl is out there on the basketball court. The new girl is playing for a team that really, to tell you the truth, is not any good. They're actually trailing pretty badly at this moment in time. They're just not that good of a team. And of course, these people show up to watch the game. So, of course, they see this person get mauled. They see this person get beat on. The next thing you know, you've created a martyr. Fans begin to feel sorry for her. And then after a while, more and more people do eventually show up. Now, I don't know if Trinity Carter and Angel Reese and all the other girls know this or not, but in reality, by doing the stuff that they're doing, it's actually making Caitlin Clark a martyr in the eyes of the fans. Martyrs in the eyes of the fans spans beyond one race of people, okay? It spans upon one color of skin. I don't know if these people seem to understand this. And, of course, to go on top of this, given the fact that they've bungled their opportunities with her and they continue to utilize, and what I mean by utilize, they continue to utilize their assets more on ideology, the fact that the WNBA is basically just about woke black lesbians who are angry as hell. Of course, that's what Antonio Brown said. And, of course, Caitlin Clark does not fit the mold of what it is that these people actually want. I mean, I want to say it was Candace Wiggins. I want to say that when she was there, she claimed that she got bullied because she was actually married, and she claimed that she got bullied by pretty much all the girls. That could have been a locker room thing, but still at the same time, given the nature of the league and exactly the makeup of the league, it doesn't really surprise me at this day and age that that's what's going on. And of course, the racial narrative has been asserted. Now, guys, in the previous video, there was a certain clip that had circulated online. And of course, I'm playing you guys about 30 seconds of it here in the B-roll footage from Jim Trotter. He tried to interview Caitlin Clark, and of course, it was the same nonsense. Do you denounce these fans? Yada, 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 yada. She didn't really have much of a comment, and I said in the previous video that, of course, for the most part, it seemed to me like, obviously, she had been trained the right way to stay above the fray. But, of course, another interviewer, another person decided to show up and basically try to ask the same exact questions, and, of course, this is how she handled it. This is just kind of a refresh from the previous video.
Caitlin, I know you mentioned that, you want to focus straight on basketball. Definitely respect that. But when, just asking you directly, when people use your name for racism, misogyny, whatever, what is your response to that specifically?
Yeah, I think it's disappointing. I think, everybody in our world, deserves the same amount of respect. The women on our league deserve the same amount of respect. So people should not be using my name to push those agendas. It's disappointing. It's not acceptable. But yeah, I mean, this league is a league I grew up admiring.
You couldn't answer the questions any better if you ask me. Yes, I understand that they're trying to get her to go woke or whatnot, but let's just go ahead and be honest. The girl is taking all kinds of cheap shots. She's learned to play. She's learned to fight back, obviously, in the WNBA. And, of course, there's a lot of hype around this girl. And given what you guys saw at the very beginning, the actual literal contract that's being offered to her, the WNBA, for whatever reason, is still finding a way to want to squander this. This is part of the reason why, as I said in the previous video, she won't be able to save the WNBA. But the thing that people oftentimes seem to forget is that this type of situation continues to, it continues to turn over and over and over again. And of course, that right there brings us to the Carrington tweet. Now, I cannot pronounce this girl's first name. I'm not even going to try it. But you guys can obviously see this. I'm just simply, if you guys want to pause the video and read it, you guys can obviously see it. And of course, the racial narrative has got to be asserted. Caitlin Clark has got to denounce racism. She got to denounce all these racist fans. As I've said before, it's not a good idea to paint the fans as just racist. It's not a good idea to do that. That's obviously a pretty bad idea. Obviously, it's something that will eventually cost you money in the long run. And I think that when Nike decided to make the decision to give her this big of contract, they could have made it much, much longer if she was the person who was actually going to save the WNBA. But I think that this contract that they gave her, while the WNBA stars don't get the money that the NBA gets, I think that Nike is really being kind of conservative with their offer, even though obviously this conservative offer looks a lot bigger than what you would probably think it should be. Nike knows what the hell is up. Nike knows that the people who run the WNBA are a bunch of idiots. And I think that Nike is starting to get wise that this guy right here is also an idiot. But let's watch some more of this craziness.
It hasn't gone anywhere. As we travel for the NBA Finals, and Shanae is here with yours truly, and Kendrick Perkins and Brian Windhorst and stuff like that. Yeah, in the city of Dallas, we're chilling, this metropolis, and, we're having a good time. Go to some of the outskirts of Texas. Go to some of the outskirts of Florida. Go to some of the outskirts of various places throughout this country, and you see places that ain't trying to hear all of that. It was the way that it was, and we ain't trying to change it for anybody. We holding on to this, whatever that it may be. And as a result of that, we find ourselves on too many occasions witnessing the conflict that we thought had subsided, that we thought had evaporated before our very eyes. And what we've learned is it has not. It has not. So when Carrington spoke up, I got where she was, the light shined on them, and it was orchestrated and plotted and planned because a bigger message and a bigger issue needed to be addressed, but the right person needed to come along to give us the license to address it. And it might not have been through their own volition.
What she basically said is that we're not going to shut up and dribble, when in reality, what she should do at this moment in time is shut up and dribble. You should shut up and dribble. Literally, shut up and dribble. I don't like saying shut up and dribble because I already know exactly what it may evoke. I don't like using that phrase, but when you start to get political and when you start to, buy into the false media hype, the types of agendas that they're trying to push, chances are you're probably sounding off about something that, quite frankly, you don't know anything about. Or it's possible that maybe every single player does have it in for the girl. I really, truly don't know. It definitely looks that way, but I want to kind of hold back a little bit before I make an actual judgment. With everything that Stephen A. Smith was saying there about progress and all that type of stuff there, dude, shut the hell up. Okay, the WNBA is what? It's like what, 80, 90% black. It's also, guess what? It's also primarily a gay league too. Stephen A. Smith for the past 2 or 3 weeks has actually been, he's been saying that Caitlin Clark would have a great career. And by the way, he even said that during his monologue here, that he thought she was a wonderful basketball player. But of course, he also took an opportunity to, at the exact same time, pretty much try to paint anybody who's a fan of this girl was racist. Basically say stuff like, if you live outside of Dallas, Texas, if you live in those areas there, they ain't feeling what it is that we're trying to cook up. They're not feeling the rest of the league. They're only feeling her. Well, that's the point. If you want to succeed as a league, then you're going to need to understand that you need those fans to come in. By the way, the WNBA should look at this as an opportunity, which we'll talk about here a little bit more here in a second because, of course, of the ratings. But the WNBA should look at this as an opportunity, which is what it is, to bring in more fans because these are here fans who, quite frankly, were never interested in the WNBA. Go back to what I said in the previous video about the situation involving Team USA and how it was that they messed up when they left her off the roster. The thing about leaving her off the roster was you missed the golden opportunity to get all the other players some form of exposure. Don't you think that maybe it's possible that the other WNBA players might want that exposure, may get more endorsements, get to showcase your talent, get to maybe possibly make a little bit more money, better overall conscious? Oh, wait, that's right. These people are the type of people that will just simply take the money and run and not try to make any additional. And then they'll come back to you later on wanting to know where the money is at. But as I addressed in the previous video, these people don't want to succeed. They really and truly do not. They want to make it basically just an inclusive league for what they are. And, of course, it was Antonio Brown who basically said that they want a bunch of woke welfare, and he, quite frankly, was not lying. I mean, when AB, of all people, is correct, that right there should tell you something. But, once again, here we are having this conversation. Of course, they've decided to make this issue racial once again. There are other people who've made videos on this particular matter, and I praise every bit of their work because they've done a great job. I typically don't want to mess around with the WNBA because I know exactly what it is. It's kind of a trash ball league. I'm not going to lie to you. I'll go ahead and tell you exactly what the hell's going on. But you've got an opportunity to, quite frankly, save yourself as a league, and here you are pissing it away. And that right there leads me to this last part, which is about the overall marketability of the league and how it is that you've got one athlete saying that they're showing up to see her versus another athlete who's not talking about people coming to see her. She just simply shows up and actually does her job. And for that right there, we had to go to the Patrick Bet David podcast. Let's look.
Neither one of them are the best teams in the league, but she gets fouled. Caitlin Clark does. And this is how Angel Reese, who she became a champion, by the way, in college. I think she won the championship. Caitlin Clark in the championship.
Exactly, 2 years ago.
However, for whatever reason, the audience likes watching Caitlin more because she's more exciting than Angel. But watch what she says after the way she fouls Caitlin Clark. Go ahead and play this clip.
For inside, I think we were playing really hard. I think we went up really strong a lot of times, and we didn't get a lot of calls. And going back and looking at the film, I've seen a lot of calls that weren't made. I guess some people got a special whistle, but just being able to for inside.
You want to know one of the main reasons why it is that nobody actually watches the WNBA? It's because of what you guys saw earlier in the video, which was about the clip about her complaining about the call, about somebody getting certain calls. Victimhood. It's basically the victimhood Olympics. It's one of the main reasons why it is that nobody wants to watch it. By the way, what PBD said earlier about these teams not being that good or having that great a season, that's correct. They're not. But people are now watching, and these people obviously can't seem to take a hint. But let's continue.
Acts to it. Now, you know what Caitlin Clark said when she got fouled this hard and she got interviewed afterwards? Rob, I sent you the clip. Not this one. I sent you a clip on text. If you can just look that up. And I believe it is the first one or the second one. Let me see which one it is. One of the two where she's being asked the question, hey, how do you feel about the way that you were, that's the one right there. Can you play that clip? Okay, watch this, folks. She's asked about the foul. Look how different the response is. Go for it.
Foul by Angel Reese. What's going through your mind, and how you just stay within yourself to finish the game?
What's going through my mind is I need to make these 2 free throws. That's all I'm thinking about. It's just a part of basketball. It is what it is.
Listen.
Trying to make a play on the ball and get the block. But yeah, it happens. And those free throws when you have to shoot them with nobody at the line are kind of hard. So it's a little different than having people at the line. So I was just trying to focus on making those.
What an attract.
Now, you guys obviously heard how she answered that. She's been trained good. She's a bit of a refresher. I want to say that right now in the NBA, I want to say it's the Minnesota Timberwolves. I think it's Anthony Edwards, those guys, after they took a loss recently, they did not come out and basically play the victim. They did not throw blame at anybody. They just kind of blamed themselves and kind of moved forward. What you're supposed to do as an athlete is take accountability, take responsibility, and then move forward. I think that having someone like Miss Clark come around is a golden opportunity for the WNBA. And as I said in the previous video, they will squander it. They're squandering it now. When you have someone like this, it tends to be a little bit contagious. People kind of sort of see the example and they kind of kind of fold around that, which has also got me worrying about one more thing that I'll talk about at the very, very end of the video. But the point is this right here. You've got an athlete here that's somewhat refreshing and is not coming out here playing the victim, not trying to get political, not going after the fans, not attacking the fans like certain NBA players do, looking at Kyrie Irving and LeBron James. But still at the same time, though, the point is this right here. it doesn't seem like she's somebody who wants to play the victim. And right now, at this moment in time, it's a bit of a, it's probably a, it's a breath of fresh air at this moment in time. Also, something else too. I said fans coming back earlier in the video, fans actually coming back to watch it. It's probably fans who like watching women's basketball for whatever reason, who probably did not want to watch it once the league went downhill because they started to see exactly how the players act on social media. Players like, say, Angel Reese, who, by the way, is already going down the wrong path, but let's continue.
On the way she gives the answer, no victim. Rob, can you play the other clip at the bottom that I texted you as well? In that text, there's 2 clips. Play the one at the bottom if you could. We like winners who take responsibility and they don't act like victims. There's something in the marketplace that is attractive. Now watch this one here, Rob. This is Angel Reese. Watch this clip. She says the following. Go ahead and play it. She needs a lot of attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of...
Boom, what a move. Okay, so...
Nobody wants to watch these scraggly hoes who play the victim. Nobody wants to watch the woke welfare queens. Nobody wants to see it. People are tired of it. It looks like people are always showing up to see one player is what it is. And maybe it might be a good idea. I don't know if the WNBA might actually put a little bit more emphasis on the area of the country that could, quite frankly, be the golden goose of the league. But as I said in the previous video, they more than likely will not do so. Hence the reason why it is that Nike did not give the girl a much, much larger contract.
The average WNBA viewership, okay, game, 7,300 in attendance, okay? The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200. They come to watch her. You know what the average attendance is when Caitlin Clark plays home or the road?
What?
15,300.
Wow.
Okay? 15,300. Do you know what Caitlin Clark just got the contract from Nike?
Nike.
You know what the contract is?
I want to say it's $3 million a year for 8 to 10 years. It's almost $30 million, something like that.
Right there. Look, 15,591 fans in attendance, 105% increase compared to the average game is 76.45. And to Angel Reese, it's only 10,000 people. Can you pull up what Caitlin Clark just got? What is the Nike contract with Caitlin Clark? Nike contract, $28 million.
Which, of course, brings us back to the point of this video, which brings us back to the point of Stephen A. Smith's whole monologue, and that is the jealousy factor. What's probably going to happen as a result of this is that one franchise, one player is probably going to bring in all the cash and make all the money. And, of course, this person, of course, is basically going to be the thing that holds it up. But if something happens to Caitlin Clark, which, quite frankly, I hope and pray it does not, and also given the nature of these woke welfare queens to hold a grudge, it's very possible that she could continue to get targeted. And, of course, the jealousy that is there is probably going to cost these people a lot of money in the future. But let us also not forget, these girls, for the most part, are being bullied by the NBA. Roughly 60% of their salary comes from the NBA. Trust me, these people don't want to succeed at all. That's one of the main reasons why it is that I fear that what may end up happening is that this girl may just take the contract from Nike, the first contract she gets, and then eventually leave the league. And, of course, if this particular organization cannot do a good job and these teams cannot do a good job of drafting and actually developing talent that's actually humble and is actually very appealable to the audience, then, yeah, that right there is probably going to be an issue going forward because, as you guys can obviously see, there's a lot of jealousy in this league. And, of course, these people are willing to throw away the golden goose just so that way they can stay loyal to their ideology and their own little club of woke welfare queens. But you guys tell me what you think in the comment section. Make sure you guys hit the like button. Please hit the subscribe button. Please share the video. Please sound off in the comment section. I would love to hear what you guys have got to say. I'll see you guys later.